It happens every single afternoon like clockwork.
You are sitting at your desk, feeling productive, when suddenly the heavy fog rolls in.
Your vision blurs, your hands start to shake, and your brain shuts down completely. It is not just a little bit of hunger, it is a full-blown biological emergency. You don't just want a cookie, you feel like you will literally die without one.
I can't believe what I'm seeing. It's rotating perfectly. The stick figure hasn't moved an inch. This is unprecedented aesthetic contrast.
This is the universal nightmare of the sugar craving, a ruthless biological hijacking that completely destroys your focus and leaves you powerless.
But why does this actually happen to us?
The advice online is an absolute chaotic mess of conflicting, aggressive shouting matches. What we have here is a complete lack of discipline. Look at this! It's absolutely teeming with gut parasites.
It makes you feel like a failure, weak, and incapable of simple self-control.
The noise is deafening, terrifying, and it leaves you standing in the pantry, confused and eating chocolate.
Stop right there. I know what you did. You ate the chocolate, didn't you? It was you the whole time.
I decided to grab my magnifying glass and investigate the deep neuroscience of cravings to find out if we are fundamentally broken or just being manipulated.
Here is the shocking truth I found.
First, I followed the standard advice.
I started my investigation by diving into the ocean of wellness tips that promise to cure cravings instantly. The most popular suggestion is shockingly insulting. When you want a cookie, just drink a glass of water. Or, if you are feeling particularly adventurous, they suggest eating a plain, raw stick of celery. This advice is akin to trying to stop a runaway freight train by asking it politely to slow down. The train is already gone. Look, the stop please sign. It's coming down in pieces.
Then comes the willpower argument.
When the celery inevitably fails to satisfy your soul, the gurus tell you it is your fault.
They claim that succumbing to sugar is a failure of your moral character and inner strength.
I tried to test this theory myself, sitting in front of a chocolate bar and trying to outthink it. But relying on willpower to fight biology is a strategy that is guaranteed to fail every single time. I sat there, sweating, flexing my mental muscles, trying to be a stoic monk. It was a total disaster. My brain wasn't listening to logic, it was screaming like a toddler who had dropped their ice cream.
Within minutes, I had inhaled the chocolate with the ferocity of a starving hyena.
The problem isn't that you are weak, it is that the advice is fighting the wrong enemy.
You are trying to bring a logical argument to a chemical knife fight. The wellness industry sells you the idea that your brain is a calm, rational computer.
They pretend that a craving is just a bad habit that you can simply journal away.
But this false trail leads you directly into a trap of shame and self-loathing.
This cycle is actually dangerous!
You eat the sugar, you feel like a failure, your cortisol spikes from the stress, and guess what?
That stress triggers the biological signal for high-energy fuel, causing another craving.
We have been looking at this all wrong, treating a hardware problem like a software bug.
We need to stop listening to the life coaches and start listening to the neuroscientists to understand the monster inside.
I threw away the self-help books and opened the medical journals to see what was really pulling the strings. I found the culprit hiding in the basement.
Deep inside your skull, buried beneath your rational thoughts and your taxes, lives a prehistoric survivalist.
Scientists call these ancient structures the basal ganglia and the amygdala. But I call this guy Caveman Dave, and frankly, Dave is terrified of starving to death.
Dave doesn't care about your summer body goals, and Dave only cares about surviving the winter. Look at that core temperature drop. He's barely conscious now. The shivering is completely uncontrollable. We have to get him out of the storm immediately.
For 99.9% of human history, sweet things were incredibly rare and hard to find.
Finding a beehive or a ripe berry bush was like winning the biological lottery.
So, evolution built a reward pathway in your brain, specifically the mesolimbic dopamine system.
When you eat sugar, your brain releases a dopamine explosion that screams, "Jackpot! Remember this! Do it again, or we die!"
This isn't a polite suggestion. It is a chemical command that overrides your logic circuits.
Let's look at the brain scan. When I looked at fMRI studies comparing sugar to cocaine, the lighting up of the nucleus accumbens was terrifyingly similar.
If you eat broccoli, your brain says, "Nice, fiber." If you eat a donut, your brain screams, "Unlimited power! We are kings of the jungle!"
But the investigation revealed a second, darker mechanism at play.
The craving isn't just about pleasure. It is about escaping a biological emergency.
This is the glucose roller coaster.
When you ate that bagel for breakfast, your blood sugar spiked vertically like a rocket.
Your pancreas panicked and deployed a SWAT team of insulin to clear the sugar out of your blood.
Go, go, go!
But the SWAT team is too aggressive. They shove all the sugar into your cells way too fast.
Suddenly, your blood sugar crashes through the floor, plummeting into the danger zone.
Your brain senses this crash and literally thinks you are running out of fuel and dying.
This is the aha moment that changed everything for me.
That 3 p.m. craving is not you being greedy or weak.
It triggers the release of stress hormones, like cortisol and adrenaline.
You are physically shaking because your body is prepping for a famine that isn't actually happening. The signal is a lie.
You have plenty of energy stored as body fat, but your brain can't access it because high insulin locks the doors.
So, Caveman Dave grabs the microphone in your head and screams for the only quick fix he knows. He doesn't want slow-burning steak, he wants explosive, fast-burning sugar.
We are walking around with Paleolithic hardware in a modern digital world.
We are forcing a brain designed for scarcity to navigate a world of infinite abundance, and the machinery is malfunctioning. The craving is just a misunderstood survival signal, a desperate attempt to save you from a threat that doesn't exist.
So, how do we silence the siren?
We don't need exorcisms or more willpower, and we simply need to stop the roller coaster from leaving the station.
The solution is shockingly boring, effectively free, and scientifically bulletproof.
You must never let a carbohydrate travel alone. It always needs a chaperone.
Do not eat naked carbs.
But if you eat that same cookie after a meal of protein, fiber, and healthy fats, everything changes.
The fiber creates a physical mesh in your gut, and the protein slows down digestion.
Instead of a rocket launch, the sugar enters your blood like a gentle, lazy river.
When you flatten the glucose curve, you silence the alarm, and Caveman Dave goes back to sleep.
This is the freedom of biology.
Start your day with savory protein, not sweet cereal.
When you stabilize your blood sugar, the brain fog lifts, the shaking stops, and you regain control of the ship.
You aren't broken and you aren't weak, but you were just running on the wrong fuel mixture. I investigated the monster, and it turns out he was just a hangry toddler all along.
Feed him right, and you can finally get back to work.
End of script. Conclusion!